All right, we're going to go ahead and get this baby started right on time. Happy Monday, everyone. And while we are waiting for the stream to get pushed out there to all of the media personalities and everyone to start getting their notifications that we are live, I see mine hit over here on my email. So, yes, it's interesting because people still say to me, Eric, how do I get the notifications for the lives? You've got to subscribe and let the notifications be turned on, and you'll get an email when we go live. So, thank you for everyone that's joining us tonight. This is actually going to be a pretty good session. Looking forward to it. It was prompted to me by my son. Excuse me. Um, welcome, Lisa. Welcome, Toshina. Welcome, Maria. Let us know who else is out there watching. This is a really, be honest with you, it's funny because I was talking to my son last week after we did the last session, and he reminded me of all the stuff that I had done in my previous time before I did government contracting that I kind of put on the back burner and I forgot. So while we're waiting on everyone to get into the room, let us know a little bit about your business. Tell us where you're at. I see Arizona here. Tell us what your business is and what your business does. So again, let me know because some people don't tell us. Tell me your industry that you're in, the name of your business, and the city and or state that you're from. We've got 13 people on right now, expecting many more to come in the very near future while we are queuing up for our live session today. How's everyone's Monday starting off? Lisa Lee, welcome. All right. Toshina, good evening. Happy to have you here today with us. Man, Giant Hawaiian, as always. Welcome. Happy to have you here with us today. Oh, aloha from Atlanta? I just read that. Wow, you down in Atlanta? Okay. All right. Cleveland, Ohio. Tell us your business. What business are you in? Howdy from Los Angeles, Sparkle Sims. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I know Bronde. All right. My man Bronde is here today with us. All right, Williamsburg, Virginia, mobile food business. All right, nice. Who else? Trucking. I see trucking in the house. Always gonna have some truckers in the house. All right. Today is good. This is actually a really good thing. By the way, if you were wondering, I don't know how many of you even saw it. Welcome. Keep posting. Keep telling us who you are. Tell us your industry. Tell us your city that you're in. Because again, by the time this goes live, people are going to be able to read those comments, and you'd be surprised how often that people ask me, "Hey," to reach out to a guest or someone because of something that was posted in one of the chats. So definitely, I encourage everyone to participate. That's how you're going to get the most out of this opportunity. Before we jump into today's message, this was interesting. We were going to talk about the mandates. I decided against it. I'd rather talk about ways that people could make money and create opportunities for themselves and their family. So instead of wasting everyone's time discussing the mandates, I just go ahead and share this post and I will drop it in the chat. And it's done by govconbrief.com. And it says the contract personnel must be COVID-19 vaccines by December the 8th. And it goes into some of the specifics in terms of the task force, the requirements, and what they're saying about it. So again, as of now, President Biden's September 9th executive order, it's supposed to be updated to FAR as of the 15th, which was last week. I don't know if it got implemented or not in the FAR, but that's what they were proposing. And so again, I know if you tuned in last week, we were going to discuss this. I decided against it. I felt like a much more interesting topic would be to talk about grants and money. Does anyone else out there agree with me? Rather than spend our time discussing the vaccine and mandates, it's coming, it's happening. If they decide to change it, then they change it. If not, then we all will have to deal with whatever the government decides to do. Unfortunately, I don't have any executive power, so I can't decide or make decisions either way. We'll drop this in the chat if anybody cares to read it. If you want to learn about it, We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on today, but definitely, if you're joining us today, we're discussing grant opportunities, and it's specifically something that I did, a program that I was a part of, some many years back. I was a part of a community program, and I totally like slipped my mind. All of these things that I did, and as my son was asking me questions about my journey and my story, that's what brought all this back into like full circle. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I see a couple people put it in here. Hey, let's see what we got here. All right. Kent from Georgia. Looking forward to Grant, start a business. Mother wants to open a florist. Nice, good stuff. All right. That's awesome. Thank you, Kent. In fact, Kent, my examples today are I picked a couple of towns in Georgia. So you're going to like that, Kent. In fact, you're going to like, let me show you. I actually picked a couple of towns in Georgia to share. So that should be interesting for Kent. Anybody else out there? Where you from? All right, let's see. Eric, Maine, Michigan, staffing, federal. Nice. Who else? Financial, okay. Sparkle, financial services, financial insurance services. Two big business industries. YC, what's up, girl? YC in the building. All right. Freight transportation services, Houston, Texas. All right. Ilana says they were briefed today on the December 8th date. Yes. It's coming. I don't know what's going to happen between now and December 8th, but that's the definitive date as of now, as per the executive order put out by the Biden administration. So let's talk about grants. Let me pull up my screen and share some stuff. This is really, hold on one second. All right. Make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Am I? No, I'm not. This is for a man in Georgia. This is what we're going to get into a little bit later on is Georgia. But first, I'm going to start off with my personal story. Here we go. All right. Good. All right, Yolanda says, hey, let's talk some grants, right, Yolanda? Forget all this other stuff. By the way, 29 people in the chat. Give me a thumbs up if you like the content. If you're having a good day, listen, just let us know. I always tell people I like to see sunshines in the little chat. So if you're having a good day today, put a little sunshine in the chat. Give us a thumbs up as always. Get some likes in here. The YouTube, gods, demigods, whatever you want to call them. Google, all these big time companies, they're only going to push the content that we push. So not thumbs up in the chat. We need thumbs up, hit the like button on YouTube or in Facebook so that it gets shared. All right. So let's talk about grants today. So going back some time ago, I actually, let me put myself kind of mid-screen. So it's funny, does everyone remember that what we were discussing, I think it was a week ago, we talked about CDFIs. Anybody remember that? Let me see if I can pull that up. This video right here, where we discussed the $5.2 million award to micro entrepreneurs and CDFIs. It was a program that the SBA has out there where they are awarding entities money to then give to micro entrepreneurs. And so we discussed CDFIs. That was about a week ago. And so again, in telling my story to my son, he's asking me, he says, hey, well, Dad, how did you meet this person? How did you meet that person? So my journey actually began, I don't know how many people know this, but I'm from a small town. Let's see, where's my little map at? Okay, let me back out. All right, so this is actually the map of the area where I'm from here. And if you could see that thing says Pinecrest Bakery and Restaurant, Ghouls. If you can see that on the screen. All right. So by the way, just let me add so I can give you guys context. All right. Let me give you some context. Hold on. All right. Did anybody notice right there, Church's Chicken? All right. Y'all see that? Church's Chicken? All right. So we already have established a basis for, right, the type of area that is. Whenever you have a Church's Chicken, right? We already can kind of establish the kind of area that is. And so that's actually the area in Miami where I'm from. It's called Goulds, Florida. And Goulds, Florida, predominantly black. When I grew up there, originally because my parents and my grandparents lived there a long time ago, I asked my parents, like, why did we live in this area? Because it's high crime, a lot of abandoned buildings, a lot of vacant land, vacant lots, things like that. And so she says back in the days, that was the land that was donated to the black people that were working on the railroad tracks. And so what happens is, as I became older and I went away, I went to college and I came back to that area, I met, and again, I shared the story before, I met a real estate developer that was extremely successful in that area. And he was the one that was the first person to tell me about government, well, not government contract. He told me about contracting as a contractor, general contractor, before I learned about government contracting. And so when he told me, this guy was multimillionaire. He owned probably 50 or so properties in and around that area. And he was the first one to bring me back to the community and says, son, you can make money right here in your own backyard. And I didn't know any better. Again, I'm a college student, like a lot of us, first generation college student. You go off, you think you're really smart and you know all this stuff. And you're like, okay, I'm an engineer, blah, 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 blah. And then you have this person that's dressed like in dingy clothes and he drives a pickup truck. And you're like, what does this person know? Right. Well, then you go to find out as you get older that that person is extremely successful, extremely wealthy, and he chooses to dress like that because typically he's out with construction workers and contractors servicing his tenants and his properties. Right. Um, and so this is the gentleman that he was part of what I talked about last week. If you remember, Community Development Corporation. Does anybody remember that when we discussed community development corporations? Oh, Sanford, Kiona. Hold on. I know Sanford. So Sanford, this actually is perfect. This applied to Sanford and a lot of small towns as well. Yolanda, you're from a small town as well. Anybody remember last week we discussed community development corporations? Community development corporations. All right. Anybody? No, 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 no. All right. So he was a part of what was called Community Development Corporation, and I will pull that up on the screen for you. Make it big. I learned my lesson last week when the things were too small. We were part of something called the Goulds Community Development Corporation. Let's go back. All right. So here it is. It's called Building a Brighter Future for the Residents of South Miami-Dade Schools Community, and a strategy centered on exploiting, I guess that's not a good word to use, but you know what they meant, exploiting opportunities presented by the South Dade Busway. Gould CDC is pursuing a program of community development, affordable housing, historic preservation, and job creation through commercial revitalization. And so this particular gentleman that engaged me, that was the reason why I'm even like here today. Yeah, run the likes up. By the way, 38 people watching, run the likes up. If you have not told me where you're from, let me know where you're from and your industry, because that way we can talk to you and this conversation can be specifically about you or for you. Like I got a couple people, I got someone from Sanford, someone in small town Jersey. I know my man's in Georgia. So look, run the likes up. Thank you, the enterprise. Big up for that. So now we set up, he was part of this Community Development Corporation. We mentioned something like that in the last call, but for all those people, Community Development Corporation is all it is a nonprofit organization, right? And so they had several focus areas, which was one was community development, affordable housing, historic preservation, and job creation, right? What you have to start to learn, and what I hope that by the time we finish today's conversation, that everyone on this call, if you don't know these words and you don't know these terms, that you learn what they are and that you understand them so that you can go back to your local areas and start looking this stuff up so that you can put yourself in a position to qualify for these programs. So that is my goal today, is that when we finish the call, when we finish this live session, excuse me, I'm used to being on Zoom calls. When we finish this live session, that you are able to go back and understand these words, understand what they mean and how to implement them, because this is how you're going to get access to the money. You have to speak the language. Just like when we talk about government contracting It's so important to talk the language because these are how the programs are written based on the language, the vocabulary. So you've got to understand and know this language and be able to use it so that when you're doing your research and you're looking for the programs and the money, this is the language that you're using. So he was part of this community development corporation, housing development, community development, commercial revitalization. How many people in your areas, again, that we're talking about, how many people in your areas, right? I know last time we had some people on here that said they were interested in doing housing. We had anybody in here, their businesses can touch on any of these areas, community development, commercial revitalization, youth and recreation programs, and housing. Anybody listening to this, out of the 40 people, is anybody in there who's looking for funding? Anybody's programs or your business can touch on any of these areas. I see, for example, retail manufacturing. Absolutely. Okay. Commercial revitalization, job creation. What else do we have? Real estate. All right. That's community development, commercial revitalization. What else? What else do we have in here? Janitorial services that creates jobs. So it's job creation. What else? Auto broker, trucking, janitorial. All right. So again, they touch on all of these areas. So does that make sense? Just like when we talk about government contracting, when we start talking about these federal grant programs, you have to speak the vernacular in order for people to take you seriously, for them to consider you, for them to let you in the doors, to let you sit at the table, to be in the rooms. And that's what we're doing today. So now, this is the CDC. Anyone, by the way, any one of us out here could create a CDC. Anyone. This is not limited to any specific type of person. You can create your own CDCs. Now, this particular gentleman, he was part of a CDC. What he did was he invited me. Let's pull it up. He invited me, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. He invited me to be a part of what's called the GHOULS. It's CASHD, stands for Community Action Human Services Department, Public Housing, Community Development, Community Meeting. So they invited me to be part of this community group for GHOULS. And in the community group that was sponsored by Miami-Dade County, we would sit down and we would listen to issues that affected the people in the community. Now, why does that matter? Why does anyone think it matters that he invited me to sit on this particular, be a part of this group where we listen to actions and incidents that affect the community? Does anybody understand why that this particular person, who's a multi-millionaire, wanted me to sit on this community action group? Anybody understand? Anybody know? Can I guess? This is the June 19, 2021 agenda meeting. All right, we got our invocation, roll call, recital of mission statement, adoption agenda, approval minutes. You see, look at number 7, naming of GHOULS Park. Look at number 8, Commissioner Keon McGee's update on District 9. Commissioner's partner update. Miami-Dade Parks, Recreation, Police Department, Project Peace, Community Issues and Concerns, Subcommittee's adjournment. Right, YC Lawson. Exactly. Representation from someone who grew up in the area. That's right. It's blurry. Someone says it's blurry. Let me zoom in. Is that better? Is it better? Nisha hit it on the head. Funding and needs of the community. Yes, that's correct. Funding and needs of the community. Nisha hit on the head. So often, right, the decisions that are being made with the dollars that go into your communities, they're being made at these meetings. So we need, in order for us to understand, to be a part of the process of how the money gets spent, someone has to sit on one of these committee meetings. Now, I happen to sit on this particular one that was for my specific group. My buddy here, He sat on this one, what happens to be was called South Bay Community Council. And so he sat on a community council. Let me zoom in. All right, he sat on this community council, and I sat on this particular cash deed meeting, which is for ghouls, right? So now, mind you, this is like when I was on the meetings, this is after college. I'm talking about this is like 2000. This is before, remember, this is before I got, this is between real estate when I got into construction before I started government contracts. I had no idea about any of this stuff or what it meant. And this guy just said, hey, Eric, listen, I need you to go over here, sit on the board. We're going to put you on the board, and then you're going to listen to the meetings and you're going to make decisions. Well, what I didn't know at the time when this happened was that the decisions for the monies that were being flown down from the federal government were being made at these levels. I didn't know this. And so all of the grant money that the government was sitting down to the states, to the cities, to the municipalities, to the counties were being made at meetings like this. And we were voting on how the dollars that were coming out to the community were going to be spent. And so as a result of me sitting on this committee meetings, I was able to vote on who was awarded grant dollars each and every year. Come on, man. Come on. 54 people watching. Give me 54 likes. Listen, it was so simple that I look back and I go, oh my gosh, how dumb was I? But wait. It gets better. It gets better. Like, look, this is just like, this is the tip of the iceberg. Okay. This thing is good. What's up, Tam? All right. Hold on. Look, Yolanda, you don't necessarily have to go to city council yet. You don't have to go to that high level, right? You may not have to go to city council, but community meetings. We want to stick with the community levels because that's where the decisions are made. Because look, I'm going to show you, right? Remember, we had a Church's Chicken in our area. Church's Chicken. So already know. What I learned, let me come up to the bigger screen. What I learned sitting in these meetings was that they made a decision how to divide up unincorporated areas with incorporated areas. They drew up the dividing lines of what tax base this particular area would get versus this other area. They decided on how we would revitalize the area, which included making changes to the zoning for real estate and property. Okay. And that's where, if I could have figured out how to put this thing together, man, like I'm telling you, I'm telling you, all of you out there, there you go. Look, Toshina worked at a nonprofit CAA years ago. Yeah. Right. Toshina. So you know what I'm talking about. You worked at CAA, so you already know what I'm talking about. But the difference, Toshina, now you're on the other side, right? So we want to figure out, how do we become the developers? How do we become the persons that own the land, that build out the land, that pick up the real estate when it's very cheap? And then because we're on these committee meetings and we're seeing what's happening when the land becomes, everyone complains about gentrification. I hear so many minority people complaining about gentrification when they could have been a part of that process. Just like Jay-Z said, we need to buy back the block. Well, guess what? The people that are sitting at this community meeting, right? We had insight and information about decisions that were going to be made in the future that we could have invested in at that time. And again, I was young and I didn't know how to put it together. And I didn't even really know the value of what I had. But now that I understand this kind of stuff, I want to spread the word, just like with government contract. I'm spreading word and I'm putting it out there to you guys. So let me show you what happened. I'm going to show you guys the story, what happened with me, right? So now, again, I'm sitting in these meetings. So I'm sitting in this particular meetings, and the police department comes, the fire department comes, all these, all the services come because they're trying to say, hold on one second. Hold on. Tashina says, look, because nobody on our board was moving forward, moving to just some mediocre, non-valuable things. So Toshina, this is perfect. I love what you're saying. This is what's happening around the United States and our communities. The people that are sitting on the boards have no idea. They're voting for things. They have no idea how to really take advantage of it for their own best interest and for the interest of the people in the community. The story I'm about to finish telling you guys, I'm going to show you how other people from outside of our community were able to capitalize on the things that we did. The programs that we voted for, the things that we voted for to build up our tax base so we could become a city, so that we become viable. Those are the same programs that other people from outside the community came in, took advantage of, and now they're gentrifying our neighborhood. And now people are getting mad. But you don't have to get mad if you had bought up the block. You would be really happy because you'd be wealthy and you'd be rich and you'd be welcoming all that change because, again, you would be a beneficiary, a recipient of it, and so could your kids and your grandkids. That's what we're talking about. Oh, all right, no problem, Tam. But Sharon, don't worry about the foreclosed properties just yet. Hold on one second. Don't worry about the foreclosed properties yet. Let's go to the next step. All right. So listen. So now I'm sitting in these meetings, right? And by the way, this organization, right? We were making decisions on on this particular funding. Miami-Dade Community Development Block Grants. Eligible activities for Community Development Block Grant funding must meet one or more national objectives set by HUD and benefit low and moderate income persons of Miami-Dade County. Cdbg funds are designed for projects that benefit low and moderate income persons, integrate long-range community strategy, leverage further private and public partnerships, enhance deteriorated residential and business districts. All right. And they must go through these different programs, 4 categories: housing, public service, economic development, public facilities, and capital improvement. Cool. All right. So we were sitting on a committee that made decisions about how this funding was going to be allocated to our community. And by the way, everyone out there listening to this, if you've got to leave early, something like that, I actually went through the exercise and pulled up some counties, typed in CDBG, and your website will come up with your local county, municipality area. And so then based on that, you'll be able to see who are the decision makers in your area. If you stick around, I do have some real life examples because I did pull up Georgia. And so I've got a couple counties in Georgia that I pulled up their websites, and we're going to talk about those specific examples. All right. Nisha says, I never qualify. I make too much. I can never get in. Nisha, that ain't going to count here, because I can promise you that the people that are actually doing these programs make way more money than me or you, because they're taking these programs and they're doing 20, 30, $40 million projects with these same programs. Because why? How many people have seen where we're talking about gentrification type stuff. We ain't talking about regular, like I said, buying a $30,000 house and fixing that up. We're talking about building 90 units, 100 units, 50 units, big projects, right? These are the projects that they're supplementing. So the type of people that get them, there are no income restrictions for the developer. The constituents, the people that you're serving, that's the income restrictions. There are no income restrictions for you, the person who's actually doing the programs, whether it's creating the jobs, whether it's doing the development. There are no income restrictions for you to receive the grant to do your program. So that's not true. Because again, I'm going to show you an example right now. By the way, Richard, thank you for joining. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Hey, Richard, thanks for joining our membership. All right. So again, that's not the case in none of these programs. There are no income restrictions. All right. So now I'm sitting on the board that makes decisions about how this funding goes. So what happens? Let me show you this. This is so crazy. This is so crazy. Anybody understand what zoning maps look like? Zoning districts? Anybody understand this stuff? And I know now I'm talking towards the real estate people, but I want to talk about real estate because this is the example that I'm using where I really, Tam's buying multifamily, exactly. So let me show you about this. This is the Miami-Dade County zoning districts area, right? And when I was sitting on the board, okay, when I was sitting with ghouls, okay, now I came on around 2000 and like I want to say 2006 and 7. But in 2003, our particular community, which again, we have barbershops, churches, chicken, a lot of slum and blight. Um, the citizens put together, with the help of Miami-Dade County and a bunch of funding from the government, this Citizens Master's Plan report. Does anybody see the date? July 23rd, 2003 at the top? I know it's kind of small, but at the very top it says July 23rd, 2003. All right. So if you look at this particular report, July 23rd, 2003, all right, this was what we designed to help to change our community from slum and blight to an actual area where people want to live and work and create more housing, create jobs and opportunity for folks, right? 2003 now, 2003. So we came out and they put this together. Now, I wasn't a part of this, but you see this particular guy right here, steering committee, J.L. Demps. I know that gentleman till this day, Ghouls Optimist Club. Louis Canty, that's the guy I'm speaking of, who actually was the one who was the wealthy developer. He was a black guy who was a multimillionaire. Okay. Robert Barnes and Associates, I know them. Gladys Briscoe, I know her. All right. And so they helped put this stuff together. Now, I know Robin Oxford. She's from my area. See this? Ghouls Community Development Corporation. Larry Canty, Ghouls Community Development Corporation. All right. So they helped put this master plan together to how we're going to take, and like they say, throughout its history, through ghouls, we come together in times to help determine future. What was happening is Miami-Dade County, for the last, make it bigger for everyone to see it, Miami-Dade County had been receiving Cdbg dollars using the statistics of poor people, the statistics of communities that were not repaired. For example, like Flint, Michigan, those states, those cities are using those statistics to get money from the government. Anybody hear me out there? The states, the cities, the municipalities are using the statistics of the poorer areas to get federal funding to make improvements. Most of the time, they redivert the money to other places, but they're using your statistics in your areas. We got somebody sitting from Goose. Family Mod 2011. So you should know some of the people on there. You should, hey, if you're from Goose, then you should know, you got to know Demps. Come on, you got to know Demps over there from Goose Park. All right. So they're using your statistics from the poor areas to get the money from the federal government to say, these are areas that we need water mains. We don't have sewers. Maybe you guys do using septic tanks. Maybe you don't have sidewalks. You got derelict buildings. You've got all of these things that need to be fixed. They're taking this stuff, packaging it up, and submitting it to get funding for that. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yes. How do you think they get the funding? Go back to what it says. What's the funding for? Hold on. Benefit low and moderate income persons. Integrated to long community strategy. Okay. Enhance deteriorated residential and business districts. So they're not going to the other neighborhoods and getting this stuff. Hold on. So that's something to consider. I want everyone to, and why is this important? Why is it important to know that the funding, they're using your statistics, your crime statistics, your blight house, slum and blight housing. Anybody ever heard the term slum and blight? They're using the slum and blight housing, like, for example, Baltimore. They're using all of those statistics to go out and get money from the federal government to say, oh my gosh, our city's in such trouble. Please, we need more funding, more funding, more funding. And then for a long time, they were rerouting that money to other areas. So now that's going to change. Why? Because the 61 of y'all watching and the 6,000 is going to watch later on, you're going to go out and you're going to make a difference. And you're going to investigate this. You're going to participate, and you're going to figure out how to stop them from sending that money that's for your areas and your community out to other people that don't represent your community and your area. That's why you're going to change it. Now, Tashina says, wow, is this legal? I don't know about the legalities of it. I ain't got nothing to do with that. But I'm telling you, that's why I'm presenting to you the information on the screen. I didn't write this. I didn't write it. So now let's go back over here to the presentation. All right. So now, oh, sorry, wrong screen. All right. So now this is again 2003 Citizens Master Plan for my neighborhood. My neighborhood. My mom still lives there. My father still lives there. My grandmother grew up there. My grandmother, her uncles, brothers, we all lived within like 4 blocks in this area. Very, very poor, underserved community in Miami for many, 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 many years. Okay. So now look at this. So the study area looks at, we were blocked off by a canal. The canal separated us from, the other side. And then all of this area in here was basically poor town. And what they did was they looked at the existing buildings. This looks like a kid drew this. Is anybody like, yo, it looks like a kid drew this. So they looked at the existing buildings and then looked at proposed development. And so if you look, this big corridor down here in gray is US 1. That's the main thoroughfare, comes through South Dade. They built a busway where the railroad tracks used to be at because we were across the track. We used to say we from Goose, cross the track. And so then you see all these buildings is where they wanted to do proposed development. It's called Citizens Master Plan. By the way, everyone, if you don't make it to the end of this, every one of you can look at your city's master plan. I highly advise you to go out and recommend, NMB. NMB is getting funding as well, Sharon. So I hope I said it right. All right. So again, Tam said it. Go look at your city's master plan. I recommend that for everyone. Here, I'm putting it in the chat. Go out there, get your city's comprehensive plan or master plan. Everyone should do that. Everyone should know that. If you're interested in doing any type of business, or if you're interested in being a part of this process where the funding is being done, this is what you need to do. This is where you start. All right. Now we're gonna and I'll show you examples when we get towards the end of this. So now they go off and they talk about MOS and previous studies, participation, blah, 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 blah. Look at what they're doing. This stuff didn't happen overnight. It did not happen overnight. And it talks about due to large contiguous parcels of land, several street dedications are proposed once development took place in those parcels. These additional streets will enhance within West Goose and encourage additional pedestrian activity east of US 1 in the event that maze are redeveloped. New street dedications also recommend to create a block structure in the place of super block that currently exists. They looked at open space. All right, I'm not going to bore you with this, but I'm going to show you some cool stuff. So here it is, proposed regulating plans, existing conditions. All right, so this is the existing conditions. They studied out areas. They got the building footprint. This is really small. I'm going to zoom in. In orange here, it looks at how many buildings are 50 years or older, right? Looks at the old buildings that we've got and our building footprint. So as you can see, there's a lot of space in there that was not developed. Look at all that empty space. See all that white space in there? Undeveloped land, right? We're saying, hey, we've got land to build. All right. So they said, we're going to propose doing what's these new, by the way, give me a like, 63 people watching. We should get 63 likes, if not more. So we looked at public open space, core subdistricts, center subdistricts. So what happens next? Now, proposed land use. This is where my people who are real estate, the people who want to buy real estate, people want to invest, the people, look, if you're looking at Eric, how does this turn into money for me? How does this make sense, right? We talked about being part of the community committees, right? So you can dictate how the dollars are being flowed. You get to decide how the grant money is going. You're going to vote on this stuff. But even better, if you, check this out, if you are participating, you get the inside track on what's happening. This says here, the proposed master plan is devised with a mixture of land use to engender a safe and attractive environment throughout the area. The highest density development and greatest variety of land uses are proposed for the core subdistrict, tapering down to the lowest density and least variety of the edge district. What does that mean? That means, right, they're about to change the zoning to allow us to build bigger buildings, right, in smaller spaces. What does that mean in terms of people? It means money. That land that you had before, that your uncle had, your cousin had, right? Then that land that was, let's say, was worth $100,000 because you could put 5 houses on it. Now you could put a 10-story building on it. Now it's worth $5 million. Makes sense? Huh? 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 Yeah. Tam says also make friends with people in the business life departments. They know what's coming down the air and change coming down the pipe. Yes, you can do that, and that's actually a great strategy as well. But for those of you who are not, maybe that's you don't want to go out and make friends with strangers. This is something that any and everyone could do. It's public information, and you really get the chance to be a part of this process. I was involved with this process, and I'll show you how. All right. So now they're taking here, and I got to zoom in. By the way, it's so funny because so now I'm zooming in. Let me see how it looks on the screen. All right, you can see this. So you see in yellow, it says residential. So residential says single family, minimum 8 units per acre, maximum 18 units per acre. Then you've got this residential in this light orange, which is a duplex, townhouse, a small apartment. So you can go 18 units to 36 units per acre. And then you've got this darker orange here, mixed use. Then you got mixed use in red. And now you get 48 units per acre. And then you've got mixed use single, mixed use commercial, store porch, institutional, public space, right? Hold on. Let me show you something else. Now, let's skip the streets. Let's skip the streets. Let's go into the good stuff. Yep, we're gonna put some new streets in. Great. Check this out. Now, remember what I was telling before. The study area. Now they're allowing you, we're proposing that you can go from what was originally 1 story to 2 stories. Now, 2 floors, 2 to floors, 4 to 6 stories. So not only can you put more units per acre, you can now go higher. And so that allows you to do more density. So that's why you see your downtown areas with these tall buildings on small pieces of squares. And then when you go further to the farmland, you go and put 1 house per 5 acres because they're changing the zoning and the density. So now that now imagine if you had this kind of information in 2003, right? 2003, you've got insight and you know that this is being proposed. Do you think that it would behoove you to try and pick up as much of this land as possible that's 4 to 6 floors in here in this area and that's high density? I'm just I'm just saying. And so that's what they were trying to tell me back then that I didn't know because I didn't have the whole map of how this whole thing works and the construct. I was just sitting on the board voting and making decisions about who gets 50,000, 10,000, $20,000 grants, which I'm not mad at that because that's one element of this. That's why it's called business grants and housing, because one element is you get to sit on the board and you get to make decisions for who gets the grants in the area. But the second thing is you get to understand what the housing is going on with housing and redevelopment and the projects and where the money's flowing, like Tam said, and you get to be part of that process. So then now you can go in and invest early. So now this is 2003, right? Now I come along, this is where I was coming on, 2007. So 2007, so from 2003 to 2007, it went from a master plan. Hold on. Went from this master plan, right, to actually being part of, see this article section, being part of actual Miami-Dade County's zoning. So now this is on the books. And they literally took verbatim what we put it in the master plan. Again, in 2007, if you're on the committees and you know this stuff is happening, you still had an opportunity to go in and invest and buy while things were cheap. You still had the chance to go in there and buy these properties. In 2007, they were selling those properties, right, for 50,000, 40,000, 30,000. Because remember, 2007, the market crashed. So while this was happening, the market was crashing. So all these properties around, I'm trying to show you the map. Here, I'll pull down this map. So everything that was in that orange section, you could have picked up all that stuff. I don't think there was a single property in that section for $100,000. Not a single property. Maybe the big squares, the big ones. Maybe these big ones. But all this other stuff in here, all this stuff in here, you could have picked up for 50,000, 100,000, 25,000, 40,000. By the way, the Community Development Center, okay, Google CDC, and this happens in so many areas, they were given land by Miami-Dade County to build affordable housing on. Hold on. I don't think y'all heard me. They were given land by Miami-Dade County to build houses on, given for free. They set up a nonprofit. How many people have a nonprofit? Anybody has a nonprofit on here? Anybody knows how to, if you don't have a nonprofit, do you know how to set up a nonprofit? Do you have someone that has a nonprofit? They created this nonprofit group and they were given the land for free. Now, even though Miami-Dade County, where I'm at, this is not happening anymore. This is happening in other places around the country. This is happening all around the country in other places, other cities. And it might just be happening in your city. But until you go out to investigate this, you're not going to know it. So they were given land. They were given the land. And they were given this property to build houses on. And then they were able to sell the houses, right? And then they were able to keep the money to fund the nonprofit. How many people could do that? It's pretty easy. So don't worry if you're joining late. We're discussing Cdbg monies, Cdbg dollars, and participation in the councils, whether it's a local council, and how you get the chance to make the decision on funding for Cdbg dollars, community development block grants. So every city, USA, if you type in the name, it's usually tied to counties and municipal districts. So if you type in, let me see, hold on. Here's a brief explanation of what a community development corporation is. Basically, CDCs are 501(c) nonprofit organizations that are created to support and revitalize communities. Any one of you can do this, especially those that are impoverished or struggling. CDCs often deal with development of affordable housing. They can also be involved in a wide range of community services, meeting local needs such as education, job training, healthcare, commercial development, and other social programs. While CDCs may work closely with representatives from the local government, they are not a government entity. So again, they work closely with local government, but they're not a government entity. So as nonprofits, they're tax exempt and receive funding from private and public sources. They run a gamut from large, well-established organizations like the New Community Corporation, Newark, New Jersey, or somebody here from Jersey, which owns and manages 2,000 units of housing and employs more than 500 people, to community groups that meet in church basements. Large or small CDCs have in common involvement in development work. They don't have staff and some degree of incorporation. They are self-identified. So you just say it. You know, this is the thing that I think is fascinating that I think people don't understand. This is why I enjoy teaching you guys, because a lot of times the programs that you're chasing, the things that you're going after, if it's like on an advertisement or some kind of billboard or something that's really easy to do, it's actually harder to do because it's put out there publicly so everyone knows about. This kind of information, it's harder to get access to, but once you figure it out, then you're like, wait a second. Does anyone know what self-identified means? That's like if you got a certification and you just said, hey, I'm 8A. Hey, I'm HubZone. Self-identified. That's what it means. Does that make sense? By the way, thank you, Christy Lopez. I appreciate you. Thank you, Christy. Um, so again, it says it's important to know that they are self-identified. Okay. Say, wow, how did the county give a nonprofit free land and build multiple residential houses on? This is what I'm showing you. Sanjing, this is let me zoom in so you can see this again. Okay, it says right here. Hold on, I'm gonna zoom in so you can see this again. Where is it at? As nonprofits, they're tax exempt and may receive funding from private and public sources. Public is the government. Public sources is the government. I know CDCs that were given land that they then sold to private developers and pocketed the money. I'm not going to call them out, but they were given land because CDC. Remember, if maybe some of you are joining late. For those of you that are joining late, what did I say in the beginning of this? Does everybody remember? If you understand the lingo, the language, the vernacular, if you speak their language, this is how you win at the game. This is just not in government contracting, in government everything. If you speak the language and you understand what people are talking about, then you can sit down and have an intelligent conversation, and now you're at the table and they will respect you and take you seriously. The first thing that I said that we all, at the end of this today session, that I want everyone to know is, hold on, where is it? Nope. Where'd it go? Hold on. This. All right. These are the things I want you to know by the end of today's call, today's live session. Understand these words, use these words: commercial revitalization, community development, housing development, historic preservation. All right. These are things that CDCs do. This is the CDC that, again, I showed you here an example. Google CDC. This is what they did. Self-incorporated. Robin, go back to, let me connect the dots for folks out there. Let me go back. This is the master plan that they put together. It was done by steering committees. All right. So now you're asking me, how did this happen? So let's go back. So now here you are, steering committee. Sorry, I got to bring these things together. All right. So now let's bring this back next to this. So here's the CDC that they incorporate, that they created. Right now, they're sitting here on a steering committee with Miami-Dade County and state staff. Look at who's here: Office of Economic Development, Office of Community Economic Development, Miami-Dade Transit, Department of Planning and Zoning, Florida Department of Transportation, Metropolitan Planning Organization. These people are part of a nonprofit group, but because they call it a community development corporation, that gives them power. So now they're sitting on a community. He's part of an Optimist Club. Optimist Club is a football. That's the football team. You know Optimist Club? This person, Google's Coalition of Ministries and Laypersons. All right. South Dade Alliance for Neighborhood Development. Google's Community Development Corporation. So now they're sitting at the table with Miami-Dade County staff making decisions about how the zoning is going to be changed for an entire community. And all of you out here can do the same thing. All of you out here can do the same thing. That's why I'm sharing this today. All right. Yes, Joey T, is all game. Welcome back, brother. I haven't seen you in a minute. All right. Now, hold on. Wait. Hold on. Wait. Let me. Sandon says, so a big focus on this has been affordable housing development. I imagine it requires access to large amounts of capital to fund development. What are examples of other businesses? So actually, a big part of this has not been affordable housing development. The very first thing that I said is us that sat on these communities made decisions for the funding that came down from Cdbg dollars, which a part of it was housing. The rest of it was money that went to small businesses. I voted on who got the dollars that went to small businesses. One aspect is housing, but the housing part to me is super important because that is the part where is the big money maker, where a lot of us can actually make a big transition. And so the reason why I'm focusing and I'm talking so much about the housing, because I want to bring this around full circle. Okay. In the very beginning, what we discussed was if you, and again, thank you for bringing that question up. If you are in any town USA, you want to be part of your community's advisory committee. I'm from Ghouls. This is my Ghouls committee advisory committee, right? You want to join your advisory committee because your advisory committee that's tied in. And my buddy was, so this is like an agenda from our advisory committee. If you're part of the advisory committee, you're gonna sit on the group that makes the decisions for how all of these dollars are flowing into your areas. And so, for example, here, all right, this is community development block grant, right? And so here they have economic development, which economic development, they talk about jobs, all of that is businesses. So if you have a business, and that's why we ask everybody out here to put their name of their businesses in here. So if you have a business that you can show that's part of economic development, then guess what? That's they can award your business money as long as you can show that it touches on one of these areas. And that's why I asked everyone to put in here what type of business you are so we can figure out how to tie that into economic development. Now, again, if you've got a business, like see, this is my area. Da, 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 da. All right. So here, this is for Florida. Sorry, it's a little small. I'll zoom in. The Florida Small Cities Community Development Block Grant is competitive grant program awards funding to eligible cities, counties, towns, and villages. All right, there are approximately 249 eligible communities in Florida. To be eligible for the small cities, Cdbg, a city must have a population under 50,000, and a county's population must be under 200,000. Award subgrants in the 4 categories. And so when they then award these money to the small cities, then the small cities then in turn give it to corporations or nonprofits like yourselves to do whatever type of program that you have that fits into these groups. And so that's the objective. And we're talking about the business side of it. All right. Does it make sense? So whether it's logistics, transportation, who else do we have in here? We had mobile notary services. We had on here, let's see. Okay. We had real estate investment. We had multifamily. See, you guys didn't put your stuff in there, so I can't find out your businesses. Whatever type of business, regardless of what it is, you can't qualify because again, the whole point of this is creating jobs, right? And I'm guaranteed in your town, if you're in a small town, it's probably not happening for you. So let me finish up my story real quick on this. So now this particular master plan that we had in here proposed is now became part of law. Right. So now it went into law and all the zoning, all the housing. Look, they put in here. So now they changed these corridors. They got double M, which is first and second floor businesses, professional offices, 12 units to 52 units per acre. And then, so then up here, max 52 units per acre in the core subdistrict. So basically, they took all this land and enhanced it. So now it went up probably 10x in value. So what do you think happens once they do that? Then people come in, and this is what happens. So now they start building. And so where this was all vacant land and empty, they start building. And this picture, I took a drone of shot in 2017. They actually now have 2 high rises sitting right here, side by side. And I want to show you something one step further before we continue the conversation, because I think this is really fascinating. So this is the current picture. Okay. And this is the area. I just want to make it go full circle. That's what's sitting there today. All right. That's what it used to look like behind there. Now you can see the big buildings back there that they built, 2 of them. Let me go back. Hold on. I want to zoom out. I want to show you. Let's see. How can I change it? Terrain. So there's 2 high rises right here, Karis Village and Silver Creek. So that's okay. There's Silver Creek right there. That's what's sitting there today. Now, did I take it down? Ooh, did I take it down? What I want to show folks out here and connect the dots on this was, yep, I think I took it down. Shoot. Let me see if I can. Give me a second. Let me see if I can pull this up. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up. I want to show it because I want to tie this all together, and then I want to go into real life examples with you guys. So let me pull this up real quick because I want to show you something that I think is pretty interesting. Hold on. I want to show you guys this. All right. Give me 1 second. By the way, put in there, okay, the type of business that you have. If you're just getting here, put in the chat the type of business that you have that you're looking for funding for. The type of business that you have. Put it in the chat. If you're just showing up now, you didn't get a chance to tell us about who you are and your business, go ahead and put that in the chat right now while I pull this up for you guys. Just because I want to show folks now. And it's funny, someone said beautiful, right? Which it is beautiful, but other people would say that, all right, here it is. All right, so here, I want to show you something. So here's the building. That's the building we're talking about. Oops. All right, that's the building we're talking about in yellow, right? All right, so this is the building in yellow that was built. I actually did some research today. I'm not going to pull it up, but they did receive $3 million in CDFI funding. We talked about that in the last grant program, the CDFI funds. They received, and by the way, this is for you, Nisha. They received $17 million from TD Bank for a construction loan, and they received $3 million from CDFI funds, which is funded by taxpayer dollars for low-income housing. So just wanted to share that with you. Now, what's interesting is I want to show you guys this, and let's come back around. Look at the zoning code. Now see that? Goulds Community Urban Center. So the people that sat on that steering committee back then voted to put this master plan together so that, and then ultimately this became law in the zoning. And today they're actually using that code to do developments. If we had got together, if someone had shared this kind of information with me and we understood what we're getting involved in, we could have got together ourselves and acquired that land. That makes sense? Yes? Makes sense? So I just want to show people that how it comes full fold. So now let's jump in and let's look at some real life examples. Thank you for putting that in the chat. Keep putting in the chat your businesses. We're going to look at some real life examples now. I just want to tell you that story to kind of open up and get your eyes open to expose you to like what's out there and what's possible, because these are the things that, again, we're complaining, which is so easy to do. And my man here, hold on, let me go get my cup. Hold on, I gotta go to the big screen so y'all can see. All right, our cup. There it is. All right, so we be out here complaining and stuff, and these things are sitting here right in front of our eyes, and we're the ones that have the chance to be a part of this, to be part of the decision-making process, to be involved, and we're choosing not to, or we just don't know. And so that's why, again, having this information and knowing that stuff out here, this is why this is super important. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yes, no, maybe so. All right. You like it so far? We doing good? All right. So now let's pull up some real life examples for folks out there. I don't remember you telling me where your cities are at. I don't see them. Nisha says, no, we don't know. That's right, Nisha. So now that we do know, now we could do better. Tam, you still on here? I thought I saw Tam on here. Okay, it's different Tam. All right. Antoine gets it. All right. Jacqueline gets it. All right. Cool. So look, I got some clothing manufacturers in here. Victory, textile, mill, clothing manufacturing. If we're looking at economic development, do we not figure out how clothing manufacturer, textile mills, that ties into economic development? Yes. That's economic development. Part of when I wrote a grant for economic development for my buddy's AC company, at the time, if we can show that we created or retained one job that was worth $25,000. So, for example, Victory, in your particular case, if you're a textile mill and clothing manufacturer, let's say you want to go to government and you want to ask for some of this economic development dollars that's coming out from CDBG, right? And what town are you in? Victoria, what town is that? Is Victoria, Pennsylvania? Phoenix, Arizona. Okay. So you're in Phoenix. So let's say and again, Phoenix is like the metro area. So we got to look at what Arizona says for that area. But let's say there was an area where the government could give you buildings, right? They could donate you the buildings or the land. And you could write a proposal to take a derelict building to turn it into a manufacturing facility. And they will give you the building and they could give you CDBG dollars, 25,000 per job that you plan to create or retain. So if you can show them that you want to create 10 jobs, that's $250,000. That's economic development. So let's keep talking. Let's keep talking. Hold on. Let's keep talking. Oh, we got a couple clothing manufacturers in here. Sharon is a clothing manufacturer. All right. And she's in North Miami Beach. So let's talk about this. So now what I did as my real life example is I went to Atlanta because I knew I was going to have some people in here from Atlanta because I always have people from Atlanta. So I put in here Atlanta region. I was looking for smaller areas. So I just typed in the 10 poorest areas in Georgia because I didn't know where else to pick. So I just really wrote 10 poorest areas in Georgia. And then from there, I started with Macon. So I went Macon, and you can see here what I wrote. Macon, Georgia, CDBG. That's what I wrote. That's it. Clicked on, and it gives me here community members, organizations, honor proclamations. All right. Now, the website is really old. Well, this one has a 2021 news. This has 2018 news. Macon County Commission meeting, several proclamations were issued recognizing people and organizations. All right. CDBG funding workshops. Economic Development Department holding annual CDBG funding conference. This is old, but they're still holding these conferences. So I would imagine if the last one was held October 6, 2017, or around, I bet you if you're in Macon County, Georgia, they're holding a CDBG funding conference right now. I would be looking, okay, I would be reaching out and finding out when is the next conference coming up. So here it is. Very simple. I went down the list and went to the next place. All right, Calhoun, Georgia. All right, I didn't even know what Calhoun, Georgia was. So what I had to do, I had to go back and I Googled, try to show y'all. Okay, it's back. It's back a little bit more. All right, there you go. I found it at Calhoun's in Cobb County. So then I found Cobb County CDBG. There it is, community development. All right. Now, when we talked about before, what two things do you want? Oh, you're Metro Atlanta. All right, no problem. All right, what did we talk about before? For all of my latecomers, when you are reaching out, okay, you want to ask for a comprehensive plan or the city's master plan. when you're reaching out to them. Comprehensive plan, city's master plan. All right. So that's what you want to do. Look out. All right. Make sure. So now I was there. Let's go back and we're looking at it. Zoning. All right. I had zoning maps. Let's see. Zoning code, zoning maps, Board of Zoning Appeals, Planning Commission. Look, we got to get in there. Civil Service Board, Cobb County Water Authority. Here we go. Community Services Board. Look at that. Board members. Cobb County Community Services Board. Now, look, this person, she works at Wellstar Medical Group, Northwest Women's Care. This person, superintendent of schools, superintendent, Cobb County Schools. We are not Metro Atlanta Ambulance Service. All right, Sierra Marietta. We are not professor of nursing, retired professor of nursing. Remember what I just showed you? Antoine, do you remember? Did I not just show you this stuff? Be a part of the community's board. Did I not just show you this? They're making decisions on the funding that's coming down to that town. They're making decisions. Do you see how easily I found that? You just have to know what you're looking for. Everyone can do this. What's easy to do is also easy not to do. Why? Because you don't have to do it. You could sit back and complain and say, well, I just want to go on a website and apply for a grant. That's fine. I'll show you how to do that another day. Today, I want to show you some higher level thinking, higher level ability, because I believe all of you out there have the faculties in your mind to be able to do this stuff. I did it and I didn't even know what it was because some multimillionaire told me, go sit on this board. Okay, I go sit on the board. I didn't even know, what is it called? Robin's rules, official rules, something like that. The voting things, you know. I didn't even know those. Robin's rules, official. I had to learn that stuff. I still don't even know what it's called. I just followed in what people told me to do. If I had someone else that was on my side that could have told me how to maximize this information, the man told me, he said, young man, you don't have to leave your community to be rich. You can make all the money you want right here in your own community. I said, this place? I couldn't see it. Because why? You got people selling drugs. You got people getting killed. You got people getting robbed. They don't stay that way. Anybody been to Brooklyn lately? Try to buy something in Brooklyn right now. You can't get nothing in Brooklyn. It ain't happening. So same thing, they're complaining about DC. DC's been gentrifying for the last 20, 30 years. Try to buy something in DC. It's happening in every town in USA. People are doing this right now while y'all sleeping, while y'all on TikTok. People are here figuring this thing out. They're sitting on these boards. They're making decisions. Why is this person who's retired, why they want to sit on this board? Why you think retired professor Dr. Carol Holtz is on that board? I can tell you why Dr. Carol Holtz is on that board. I promise you, I know why Dr. Carol Holtz is on that board. I'm willing to bet you, what's that old saying? 10-1. I'll take this bet 10-1 that Dr. Carol Holtz, somebody that she knows and her family, is requesting funding from this grant, and she wants to be on the board to sway the decision makers. Who wants to take me on that bet? Who wants to take me up on that? Come on, man. I bet you won't take it. So this is how, again, we're saying the person so many of us get distracted because, oh, he's only talking about housing. No, housing is one aspect. There's 4 components of this, right? There's 4 components of this. Housing is one aspect. Housing happens to be the biggest aspect because typically the dollars go to higher profile type projects. So now, Nisha said, not me. Vicky Andrews said, I'm with you. Right, Vicky. Okay. Fort Myers, Florida. Oh, Vicky, I know Fort Myers got it going on. So this is what we're looking for. Dr. Carol Holtz is not innocent. And by the way, she's not doing anything wrong. She's doing nothing wrong. So she you know, her if her husband or her son has a hold on, let's go up here. Let's find a business. Where might people put the business at? Hold on. Okay, if her husband or son has a florist business that they want to start up in that area, and they said, "Hey, look, we get to make a decision on this last $250,000. Should we give it to 5 companies? Should we give it to 3 companies? Should we give it to 1 company?" Right? And again, we're in Cobb County. It's ranked number 9 on the poorest counties in Georgia. And we're saying, hey, look, we don't need no housing because nobody lives here, blah, blah, blah. You know, but we really could use a floral shop because we don't have a floral shop. And because we don't have enough population to really support someone coming to bring a floral shop in this area, and without any type of government funding, we will never have a floral shop. And so we think it makes sense for us to actually give 25,000 or 40,000 towards the floral shop, because otherwise we'll never get one in town because there's not enough people to sustain it to make it a profitable business in this type of area. And everyone goes, yeah, Carol, Dr. Carol, Dr. Hertz, that makes a lot of sense. You're right. You know, I'm a wife. I like flowers, and I wish somebody bring me flowers. And you're right. All the floral shops that come and go, they close down because there's not enough people sustain it. So if we don't support them, we don't give them money, or we don't subsidize them in some kind of way, we won't have a floral shop. And I really love flowers. And as silly as you guys may think this sounds, this is what's happening. And because y'all not at the meeting, y'all don't really know. And that's how the floral shop gets $40,000 in grants. Just like that. Because Carol sat on the board and said she liked flowers. And then Lisa said, I like flowers. Pete and Chris was like, look, I don't care as long as my housing project gets this money, right? Dr. Paula, she liked flowers too. So you got Dr. Paula, you got Lisa, and so again, everybody's like, all right, you take care of my stuff, I take care of my stuff. I don't really care because I'm not into housing. So I don't care what happens with the housing money. And then, and then this other person is like, look, I don't care about your flower business because I got housing. So you let me have my housing portion, I'll let you have your flower piece. And we work it out, we negotiate, and we shake hands, and we sign off. Antoine said he would like flowers too. Good. There you go. I like flowers. Listen, Kent, I would vote to put your flower shop to give you $40,000. You know why? Because it ain't my money. So Kent, if you want to put up a flower shop, that would be my logic, and that would be my justification. And I would vote to give it to you because guess what? If there's nobody else coming to the table to propose to get this money, and we have to give out the money, does everyone know? Hold on. Does everyone understand our government's policies? Use it or lose it. Does everyone understand our government's policies? Use it or lose it. Does everyone understand our government policy? Use it or lose it. Yes. Yes. No. Give me, if you know use it or lose it policy, put a star, drop a star in the comment. If you know use it or lose it policy. If you don't know use it policy, put the little guy with the question mark face. If you don't know what use it or lose it policy is in our government. No. Use it or lose it, right? Yes, law enforcement budgets that way, Nisha says. Correct. Hold on. Where is it at? Yes. No. Okay. Use it or lose it means exactly what it says. If you are allocated money and you don't use it, you lose it. If you're allocated money and you don't use it, you lose it. Right. Look, here it is. If you don't use it before the end of the fiscal year, don't look for it next year. So let's go back to our example with Dr. Curl and them. If no one comes to get this CDBG money and they gave us $100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000, no one comes to get it. If I got to decide between giving my man Ken a flower shop for $40,000 or sending that money back up to the state, back up to the feds, next year they're going to cut me what I didn't spend the following year. So we lose that money. So they have to give it to someone. Have to. They would rather give it to anyone, even if the person did not check all the boxes. If they check half of the boxes, it's better to give it to that person than to lose the funding, because then the government's going to say, well, you didn't use all of your allocation. So guess what? Look, Ken getting 2 flower shops. That's right. That's right. Because I'd rather give Ken $40,000 for the flower shop than to let the money go back to the state or to the federal government. Remember we told you what happened with the money for the rent program. Does everybody remember that? If you were here at my last live session, do you remember that when we talked about the money that went back for the program? Y'all remember that? Hold on. Let me pull it up for you guys. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Let me show y'all what happens. If you weren't here last week, here it is. Last week, this is what happened. $99 million in rental assistance for Florida's return. Look, the Florida Housing Finance Corporation created to support affordable housing, struggled to distribute the money. They had to return $99 million. They couldn't give it away. They couldn't distribute it fast enough. They had to return it. $99 million in unspent rental assistance meant to help Floridians living in affordable housing were returned to the state after the agency overseeing the program struggled to disperse the money. Come on. Listen, this is what happens. Now, you're sitting on the board. Are you going to give my man the flower shop, or are you going to send the money back? So let's talk about community development block grants, CDBG. Again, I was picking on Georgia today because I don't know. I knew I was going to have somebody here from Georgia, or at least I know the people that participate. Georgia people always are participating, so I can get support from them. So when I was setting up this live session today, I decided I was going to use Georgia as an example, because it's always a good example to use Georgia. Look, that's right. Everyone getting a shot. Yes, everyone's getting a shot. Look, yep, we lost it. Camps, I open a car wash or detailing shop. Of course, you can do it. That's right. No, all this is possible. So, community development block grant, as we said before, it focuses on benefiting low and moderate income people by providing resources for livable neighborhoods, economic empowerment, and decent housing. Again, you're gonna, no matter where you look, the community development block grant has the same missions. They're targeted towards low and moderate income people. By the way, low and moderate income doesn't mean poor. Trust me. If you look at the definition, it's almost like government contracting. When we look at the definition of low to moderate income, it's almost like the definition of small business. All right. It's not just poor people. So when you think low, people, everyone knows the definition of small business, right? If you're in construction, it's $35 million a year. Thank you, Christy Lopez, again. Thank you for showing me love. If you look at small business definition and the federal government standards, right? That means 30, I think we're at 37 million a year or 35 million a year. So 36.5 million a year average over a 3-year period. That's $100 million. That ain't small business. That's small business by the federal definition. Again, low to moderate income, trucking, 16 million a year. If you do $16 million a year in trucking business, you're doing pretty good, right? Same thing. So here, when they talk about low to moderate income, that doesn't mean poor people. Don't think that means Section 8 housing. No, that actually low to moderate income today pretty much means 90% of the people. Hold on one second. So when you look at it that way, when you look at low to moderate income people, in fact, just to prove it to you, let's pull it up. We're gonna do it ourselves. We're gonna do the research ourselves. Let's look at low to moderate income. Let's look at it by county. So we can just look at what the HUD definition of low to moderate income means now, right? Because again, low to moderate income, you're like, oh, no, you don't have to put in. That's working class people, basically, is what it means. But they call it low to moderate income. That's basically working class people. Let's see what it says. All right, give me a thumbs up. I got 81 people in the chat. Give us a thumbs up. Hold on. Estimates at 3 income levels, low income, right here. Up to 50% of the area median income, moderate income, greater than 50%, up to 80% of the area median income, and then median income greater than 80%, up to 100% of the area's median income. Does that even make sense? Does anybody even get that? I'm going to drop this in here so y'all can read it yourself. This is why, I'm first of all, I'm honored and privileged to be able to teach this to you all out there, but I really want you to understand how all this stuff is kind of like trickery. They make it seem like it's so complicated and that they're doing so much for the bottom people, and it's really not. Look at the definition. Read that. I want you to read it yourself. Look what it says. Up to 50% of the area median income, moderate is greater than 50%, up to 80%, and medium is 80% up to 120. How the heck is that medium income if you're up to 120% of the? Does that even make sense? HUD put this out, not me. By the way, I didn't write this. HUD put this out. So don't be mad at me. I didn't write it. If you make 120% of the area's median income, how's that medium income? Anybody else scratching their head? Is anybody else scratching their head? If you make 120% of the area's median income, how is that medium income? So again, do not put roadblocks in front of yourself. Do not brain wrestle with yourself. Do not keep putting up these barriers. You are putting up the barriers in your own mind. Do not let these things discourage you or because of the word play. How in the world can you make 120% of the area median income and be considered medium income? It doesn't even make sense. But as you can see, this is how it goes. I don't make the rules. All right. Look, this teaches you right here. Demonstrating area benefit to low and moderate income persons. This video explains overview moderate income summary and the methodologies used in Cdbg grantees to determine if your area is Cdbg funded activity qualifies as LMA or low to moderate activity. So it's really by the way, look at this, it says right here, certain exception grantees may qualify activities as area benefit with fewer LMI persons than 51%. So by the way, just so you know, it says your LMI has to be 51%. That means that technically you could have rich people in that area too. Just as long as 51% are LMI, the other 49% could be rich. Now, look, Sanger says, oh, I like this. 1.2 of the median income certainly isn't high. No, but it ain't poor either. That's the point I'm making. Not that it's high, because we're not targeting high income, but it's not poor. And so the what I know people are gonna respond to me back with is they're thinking it's poor people, and it's not a poor people program. It's not high income, it's everyday people. Let's see. Oops commented in that post. I am a newly formed FMSC motor care authority with broker license in San Antonio with door private loading hub yard. Dreams be killing me. Like, appreciate your efforts. Yes, awesome. No, and so again, a private loading hub yard, those are kind of things where, again, if you can demonstrate, right, where it's going to check off one of these boxes, right, then that's how you're going to be able to receive the funding for these areas. So, but in order to do that, what we've got to do, right, and again, I'm just showing you that. What we have to do is first we have to do what? We've got to get the city's master plans or comprehensive plan, right? We have to figure out about the community boards. And so now once we get their master plans and the comprehensive plans, we know what they're planning on doing for the next 10 years, like Tam said earlier. Now we find out about the community boards and how do we become part of those community boards. And if you're not a people person, that's okay. Go find your friend that's a people person, like my friend did me, and he put me on the board. So he sat on the Community Development Corporation, but then he sat me on the Miami-Dade County Community Board. So guess what? We had both two-pronged approach. So now that's what I'm saying. Even if you don't do it, take one of your friends that you know is outgoing, that maybe they're a rah-rah cheerleader for your cause or for the community, and be like, look, girl, guy, look, listen, I want you to go sit on this board. Since you're so passionate about helping people and doing this and doing that, you go sit on the board. So that way, when this things come down and decisions being made, you can have a say and input, including like when I throw my name in the hat or in the pot, then you can, call me out. So, all right, first government contract I ever bid, thanks to you. And I shook my head at how the government considered you economically disadvantaged if your net worth was less than $4 million. Exactly. Exactly. So let's go back and I just want to let's look at some because we know we're looking at percentages. Let's see. Low mark income based on zip code. All right. All right. So median household income for this zip code is 36,000. This is around Broward area. So again, Wilton Manors. I know someone that lives in Wilton Manors. Well, I don't know them personally, but I know somebody living in Wilton Manors. So this is around. Okay, this is Broward. I'm just north of Broward. So here's your median income. So again, so now if you do 120% of I don't know $70,000, right? I mean, I, I don't know. Do you guys call that middle income? I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of out of touch now. So you tell me. You guys look at these numbers and tell me. Even if we take the bottom number at 36,000, low to moderate income, 120% of that, I still think that's a high number. But and then again, some of these zip codes, median household income for 3311 is less than the median household income for 334, 3301. Right? Hold on. Where's my zip code? I don't see it up here. Let's see. I don't even know why I pulled that zip code up. I'm not even in that zip code. Anybody got a zip code they want to check? Anybody have a zip code that they want to check? Florida income statistics. So median household income in Florida is 55,000. Average median household income is 80,000. Let me see if I can check my zip code. Delray Beach. Let's see what we got. All right. There you go. 60,000. All right. Oh, somebody said 33. Gilbert, 53,209. All right, let's check yours. 53,209. Um, 36,537. There you go. All right. So who else? We'll do one more. I do my man Antoine because he's always participating. 813. He's always participating. So I'll do my man here. Antoine, 80,000, brother. So I don't think they'll be building no housing around you. If they do, though, you can build it for regular people. It'll be you can go up to about what's 120% of 80,000, about 100 grand. So you can build low moderate income housing, Antoine, in your area. Okay, I think you can build a house up to 100,000 over there where you live at, and you still be considered LMI. All right. So again, that was just an example to show people because I just want you to understand what the requirements are. We're gonna get off in a little bit, but just to finish up, let me go through community development block grant. That's what you're looking for. You want to type in your area. By the way, so look, it tells you all the cities, their populations. Here's a flyer. There's a grant application. We'll go through this really quickly. Look, programs, annual competitions, employment incentive programs, immediate threat danger set asides, redevelopment funds. By the way, a lot of the COVID money, like the shelters programs, they went through Cdbg to distribute the money. So revitalization, area strategies, revolving loans. The key for Ernie and all of you out here is how do you tie your business, your program to economic development, creating jobs, and helping people. And so if you can show that, then and I'll go through, I'll show you this. This was given in these areas. So see here, Adele, the city of Adele, economic development 750, Eldora 350, McIntosh County, redevelopment half a million. So again, economic development is not actual housing. So that's where you're doing like the businesses. So that's where they're giving money in businesses. For all of you out here, whether you're logistics, whether you want to do, like you said, what was it? Hold on. If you want to do your private loading dock, Christy, that's where they're giving you money for that is under the economic development area. And so what I'll do, because we are like approaching 2 hours, what I'll do is the next time that we do this, I'll see if I can pull up if I can find our economic development grant that we submitted, or I'll see if we can pull a sample up to show people what that looks like, because I think someone asked me in here, where was it? I think someone asked me, oh, Victory said, so you don't need a grant writer to get grants. And the answer, Victory, is no. You don't need a grant writer to get grants. Actually, the people that are awarded a lot, remember, you're going to your local municipality, your local county, your local town. And so a lot of times there's just a simple application that says, what are you going to do with the money? How are you going to do it? And then you tell me like what your business is or what your proposed business is, what you're doing. So for example, like Tam says, a car wash or car detailing shop. If you tell them about your business, what you're doing, and you could show some numbers like, hey, how many jobs you're going to create? Again, a lot of these grants that by the time they get down to your level, it depends on the size of the dollar you're requesting. If you're requesting, I don't know, let's say 10 or 15,000, those people never submit they submit a grant application, but not a grant proposal, if that makes sense, Victory. So it wasn't you didn't need a grant writer because, and in this particular case, I'm not saying for every grant that's out there. I'm saying in this particular case, they were done on applications. We took applications because they were grants for small businesses. And so typically they were like 25,000 or less. Now, when we did the bigger grant that was a 250,000, we put it together ourselves and really was just answering questions and also collecting letters of support from people in the neighborhood. So again, how do you get letters of support? You sit on the community boards. When you sit on a community board, you're going to get support from people in the community because they're going to know your face. They're going to know your name. They're going to say, oh, yeah, I know Victoria. She's such a nice person, blah, 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 blah. So that's how you get letters of support from the community. But no, a lot of this money was already there out there. So, and again, you say any programs for mental health or parent education for children with special needs. We didn't. So just to wrap up as we close out, we didn't talk about specific programs tonight. The program I'm talking about is Cdbg, and as long as your program ties into economic development or ties into one of those three categories that they discussed, then you could submit an application for those dollars. Let me see if I can pull up on the screen real quick. Hold on. Oh, by the way, Gordon County, I pulled up down your comprehensive master plan. This is what it looks like. So if anybody's in Gordon County, I did pull down their comprehensive master plan just to show as an example that every I don't care how big or small your town is, you have to have one of these plans. All right. And then going back to my friend here. Oh, I'm sorry. It was on the other screen. Sorry, my friend. It was on the other screen that I shared before that. Ultimately, yeah, I'm sorry. It was on the other screen. But basically, Cdbg. So if your program ties into any of these areas where you're help benefiting low to moderate income people by providing resources for livable neighborhoods, economic empowerment, and decent housing, then you can propose your program under CDBG dollars, whether it's a mental health or parent education, then you could propose that in there. So tonight we're just focused on this particular program. In the future, we'll talk about specific programs, maybe like the ones that you're discussing. So, and by the way, congratulations on writing a book. I know how tough that is. It's really difficult. So, yep. So look, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'll just say the last name. So it says, yes, I just looked at my city and the one next to me, and CDBG supports both of those types of public services. There you go. Wow. All right. Hey, if you love what we talked about today, or you had a good time with me, just give me a thumbs up. Share it with your friends, family, and fools, people that you care about, that you love. There's a lot of things out here for small businesses. We just got to know where to turn, where to look, and what questions to ask. And I hope that at the end, you were able to get some additional knowledge. And I thank my son for also reminding me about all these things that I had that I totally forgot about. And I was happy to share it because these are part of my life experiences. And I missed the boat on some of this stuff, but I won't be missing the boat the next time. So listen, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for the 81 people that stayed till the end. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'll keep bringing you more game, putting you guys on. All right. Love you guys. Be good.